Hi, my name is Nick Shell. Maybe you've never heard of me, and that's okay. I'm not special or important or famous. But what I want to do is help you today. I mean, here we are at the beginning of 2017, and New Year's resolutions, right? I've never really been big into that, but I will say in the last year, I've learned and applied some things in my life that's really made my life better. It's made my life easier and made my life more enjoyable. So I want to make this casual, unedited video to share some things with you. In fact, I've got seven traits that I want to share with you of choosing to be victorious versus allowing yourself to be a victim. So these are these things I learned in life, and here in my mid-30s, I finally got this stuff figured out. If only I could have understood this and known this a long time ago, that would have been good, but hey, there's that whole learning process. So what we're going to look at these seven things, just simple things, and they almost sound too simple. But if you rearrange your life, if you rearrange your way of thinking according to this, I think whatever your New Year's resolution is, that these are going to be helpful and good for you. So let's go ahead and get started. Remember, if you picture the world as very cut and dry, very black and white, either you're victorious, either you choose to be victorious in your life, or by default, you settle for, you allow yourself by default to become a victim. There's no gray, there's no in between. Now I know that that's not exactly realistic, but that's the way I think. It helps me stay focused on what I need to do. It helps me focus on what I can control, not on what I can't, right? Because we can choose to live in fear, we can choose to live in anxiety, and if we do those things, we become the victim. But we can also choose to find a way to overcome those things we cannot control. So let's get started. The first thing is complimenting others versus criticizing others. Now I get it, there's constructive criticism and there's a place for that. But if throughout your daily life, throughout an average day, you criticize people, you find ways to criticize people, and you don't find ways to compliment people, chances are you're going to have more of a victim mentality. You're going to find things wrong with the world. You're going to find things wrong with other people if you do that. So what if you consciously chose to find ways to compliment people? If you're doing that by default, you're probably not going to be criticizing them as much, are you? By default, that's going to make people like you more too. Like, genuinely find ways to compliment people. That's number one. Number two is to embrace change instead of fear change. There's that word, fear, again, fear and anxiety. No, I think it's a choice that you can avoid those things. You don't have to fear change if you embrace change. Because again, focusing on what you can control, not what you cannot control. That's what victorious people do. They think, okay, I can't help this. I can't help this thing in my life, this thing in the world. I can't control that. So I'm just going to embrace that, and I'm not going to fear it. That's important. Number three is to forgive others if you're victorious, as compared to holding grudges. See, people who are victims, they hold grudges. But if you're victorious, you forgive others. You're constantly in a state of forgiveness. You're finding ways to forgive people before they've even done anything for you. And if you can imagine, if you're constantly ready to forgive people all the time, it's kind of hard to get upset with other people because you're already ready to forgive them. It's hard to be offended when you're always ready to forgive other people. And that's common sense to you, right? I mean, if you're holding grudges against everyone who's ever wronged you, that's not going to lead to success in your life. Those people, whether they know it or not, are going to be having power over you. All right, number four. Number four is someone who's victorious is always learning. Whereas someone who's a victim already thinks they know everything, right? So I'm age 35. I'm telling you now, and let this record show, no matter how old I am, I will always be learning. I could be 70, I could be 80, I could be 90. I'm always going to be learning. The moment I become closed-minded is the moment I become irrelevant. And I'm not okay with becoming irrelevant. So I'm going to always be open-minded to new ideas. It doesn't mean I have to accept them as my own beliefs, but I hear them with an open mind, and then from there make a judgment on whether I think that that's something that I'm willing to buy into. But I say old school really as a bad thing, because I think a lot of times there's a lot of people who are so old school, they're closed-minded to new ideas, and they can't move forward in their life, and they get left behind, they're less relevant. I'm not going to be one of those people. I'm victorious, therefore I'm open-minded to new ideas. All right, where are we at? We are on number 5, aren't we? Okay. Number 5 is someone who's victorious is going to accept responsibility. And not only accept responsibility, but accept responsibility for their failures. Whereas someone who's a victim is going to blame others for their failures. I mean, think of it this way. You're going to be wrong pretty much at least half the time, right? If you assumed you were always right, then that just shows how naive you are. Because you're going to be wrong. There's this thing from, I haven't watched the show, but Big Bang Theory, where the guy says, well, don't you think if I were wrong, I'd know it? Exactly. People who are victims tend to think that they're always right. People who are victorious, like me, we know that there's always the possibility that we could be wrong. So therefore, we're willing to accept responsibility if we are wrong, instead of blaming others. The more we blame others, the more likely we are to actually be in fault ourselves, right? That's the truth. Now, number 6. Number 6 is someone who's victorious has a sense of gratitude, whereas a victim has a sense of entitlement. Let me say that again. People who are victorious have a sense of gratitude, whereas people who are victims have a sense of entitlement. So, maybe your job doesn't pay you as much as you'd like for it to. But man, it's a steady job, you're making money. And if you really want to make more money, then learn more skills, get more education, and move your way up and get a different job. Be grateful for the job that you have, right? Be grateful for what you do have. Instead of feeling entitled, well, I deserve a raise because I've been here for a year now, and well, maybe you do, I don't know. But if you always think people owe you something, then you're a victim. Instead, if you always are gracious for what has been given to you, you're victorious. Now, number 7. Number 7, and this is the epitome. This is you can see this in everything I'm saying. Number 7 is that people who are victorious set goals and they develop plans, which is exactly what we're doing today, right? Meanwhile, people who are victorious, meanwhile, people who are victims are never setting goals. They don't have goals in life. And I've talked to people like this. They really don't have a plan. I always have a plan. And just for the record, my name is Nick Shell. Nicholas is my full name. In Greek means victorious. And I don't know that my parents could have known that, but they were going to have a son who was going to live up to that name. Not because he was just born into a world where everything was perfect and everything just worked out for him naturally, but instead because he chose to find ways to be victorious in life. And applying these 7 things, after I've learned them and now I apply them consciously and daily apply these. I am choosing to be victorious, because if not, by default, I think the human default is to be a victim. The human default is to criticize others, to fear change, to hold grudges, to think that they know everything, to blame others for their failures, to have a sense of entitlement, and to never set goals. Now, meanwhile, you see somebody like me, Nick Shell, who chooses daily to be victorious. Now, what do I do by comparison as someone who's victorious, not a victim? Well, I compliment others, I embrace change, I forgive others, and I'm always ready to forgive others. Always learning. I accept responsibility for my failures, assuming I'm wrong at least half the time. I have a sense of gratitude, and I set goals and I've developed plans. Now, in closing, because I know that we're nearing the 10-minute mark, and I want to make sure that I still got your attention. In closing, I made a video on my YouTube channel here in which I invited the free world to attempt to offend me. You can imagine what happened. No one offended me. Why? Because I did not give them the power or the authority to offend me. It's actually impossible to offend me. They could say whatever they wanted to about me. It's not like my emotional state is going to change at all. Why? Because I'm confident, I believe in myself, and I'm victorious. So whatever they wanted to say, whether it's true or false, I would have to respect their take on me as a person. I'd have to respect what they had to say in order for it to hurt me. But imagine this, in your life, you have the choice to make, as someone who's victorious, to not let other people offend you. Yeah, I live my life that way. And you say, I don't know, Nick, I don't know. I wear my heart on my sleeve and I'm kind of an emotional person. Well, think of it this way. You think of somebody right now, you know in your life, who is so easily offended by everything. They could go on Twitter or Facebook and easily get offended and get emotional and just blood pressure is worked up. You know people like that. We all do. That's a victim. That's not me. That's not me. I don't get offended by stuff. I don't give other people power over my emotions. And it's a choice. It's not the default is that you're going to let other people hurt you. The choice as someone who's victorious, you choose to not let them offend you. I'm Nick Shell. I'm good for you. You need people like me in your life. The proximity effect. You become the person, you become the people that you surround yourself with. Right? If you got negative people, victim mindset mentality people, you become like them. You surround yourself with people like me, you become like me. Now, I'm not here to say that I'm rich or famous or anything like that. Am I successful? Yes. I'm content, I'm happy, I've got a good life, I worked hard for it, and I will always work hard for it. I will always fight for it. I will never sit back. I will always be victorious because I will make that choice. Remember, victory, success, typically doesn't come to you. It's not a lottery that you win. It's an everyday conscious decision to be victorious. My name is Nick Shell. If you like what you've heard today, you're welcome to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You're welcome to watch more videos because this is who I am. This is my heart. This is who I really am as a human being. I love helping people because, man, I wish I knew this when I was 20 years old, 15 years old, 30 years old. I wish I knew this. I didn't have anybody making a video to tell me this stuff. So that's why I make this to you. I want to help you. I want to help you become victorious by making these conscious decisions. So there they were. You heard the habits of people who are victorious, and now you've heard the habits of people who are victims. And I get it that the world's not that black and white, not that cut and dry. I get it. But I live my life as if it were. I live my life as if I have to make these decisions constantly to be victorious and not a victim. I've enjoyed you watching this video with me because I spent a while making this video, preparing, living this video. So I'm honored and happy to share this information with you. Please leave comments if you wish. And there's a good chance, the kind of person I am, I like to either comment back or, even more fun, make a video back to you. I like helping people. I'm good at it. I didn't get this way by accident. I've made mistakes in my life. I've been the victim. Did you know that? Did you know that it took me being the victim most of my life to realize that I was a victim and that there was another choice? And now I'm free. I'm free. My name is Nick Shell. Thank you for watching this video. I'm here to help you.